I'm going to take you through my Ice Strike Invoker Monk at level 90, almost hitting 91, no uniques, obliterating the screen, and the only weakness so far is a little bit of mana issues, which we can resolve through gems. A T15 map. DPS is getting up to 170, 180 sometimes. As you can see, it plays well. Let me find some footage from my stream yesterday showing me taking out a map boss. But yeah, there's me just not even trying very hard, to be honest. And he's gone. Doesn't take long at all. So, look, I'm happy with the build. Just to be clear, it's a level 90 Ice Strike Monk Ascendancy's Invoker. Okay, it's nearly going to hit 91, which is good. Just using my gear, I've capped all resistances by far. I went CI, Chaos Inoculation, so I'm immune to Chaos. So that's just, it could be 0 for all I care. Energy Shield is not super high, but it's actually enough if you've got good damage. So if you've seen my previous video, I have a video just uploaded where I was level 79 non-CI Ice Strike Invoker. And what happened since then is I went crazy high energy shield, like I was near the 9-10k before any overflow, but had no damage. So I peeled it right back, and look, I don't have a lot of nodes on the tree. I'm not level 95. It would be great to be another 5 more levels, but I think this is a good balance now. As you can see, not dying much. Let me just go through a few things. So first off, I like to go through the skill tree. So yeah, I'm an invoker. I took off the protect me from harm. I've got lead me through grace. That together with high evasion or high evasion energy shield armor lets me get enough spirit for all my buffs, auras, etc. That's vital. I took off protect me from harm because it mainly helps you with lots of small damage, which is not really my problem at this stage in the game. I definitely went critical. I'll talk about that in a second, because my crit chance, etc. is not super high. I need a better staff and probably some more points, but I'm getting there. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute, but this is super important if you're critical. You ignore non-negative resistances when you do crits. I did try this scatter them to the winds. I thought it was doing a good job until one of my chat pointed out that it has a spell tag on it, and I scale attack damage, not spell damage. So it's pretty useless. We got enough cold damage already, so let's go with thunder and get some thunder damage. I need another ascendancy. Haven't even tried it yet. We'll get there soon. Got the main two that I wanted, which would be Sunder and Lead Me Through Grace. In terms of the tree, we originally spec through damage, we've respec through critical wherever we can, and we've gone up through, yeah, a lot of critical stuff. I had to unspec. I like Step Like Mist for the move speed and mana regen, but particularly the move speed, had to unspec. You know, points are scarce resources, so you've got to pick and choose. I had all of these insightfulness and melding, all of these energy shield nodes here. I just didn't have enough points. I went back out of them, but I've moved the tree around. I initially unspec'd out of Falcon and respec'd back into Falcon. It's too good. My attacks were too slow. Unless you've got a crazy weapon with attack speed, my attacks were slow. So I'm scaling dexterity and getting 1% attack speed per 15 dex. And I find that that's worth it. I'm also keeping Subterfuge Mask on, which is super important for your evasion rating. My evasion now is around 78% with my auras, which is, you know, very good. And my energy shield 5,000. That's more than enough for me. That's doing the job really well. I have energy shield investment, but not as much as I once did. I have I once was invested fully into quarterstaff, but I'm just keeping the critical nodes around, yeah, critical damage bonus and critical hit chance. I have a lot of jewels. The jewels are suboptimal. I have had no money to buy the jewels. When I get money, I'll buy, when I get divines, I'll buy really nice jewels. Right now, I still got reasonable ones. Things which include critical hit chance, increased shock on that one. Not the ideal one at all. This one has maximum energy shield. Fantastic. Chill duration is great. Critical hit chance is good. That's a low roll. Let me take a look at some other ones, for example. Love this one because it's got critical damage bonus and energy shield, and stun threshold, which is a bit of a problem on CI. So I would advise getting, you know, the ultimate gem jewel to me would look something like critical hit chance, critical damage bonus, energy shield, and then something else like stun. That would be the ultimate jewel for me, but they do cost a lot, and you know, we'll get there over time. So what I've tried to done is taken quite a few jewel slots all over the place. We've got critical damage, moment of truth. We've gone back up here. We have some mana cost reduction. It's just getting ridiculous otherwise for me. I do have an extra power charge with energy shield increase. That was a good node to pick. So actually my energy shield will be 5,000 and something if I activate a power charge, consume one in the last 4 seconds. I mentioned Subterfuge Mask. Coming down to here, I have got Coming Calamity. The reason being is I have Herald of Thunder and Ice, which together work to explode the screen. I had Pulsicon. If I had Pulsicon, I'd probably unspec, because it's quite expensive, 3 points. I'd probably just put 2 points, or I might put the 3 into Thin Ice around here. But since I have 2 auras, this is quite a nice skill since it's got 50% lightning damage when affected by Herald of Thunder and 50% cold by Herald of Ice, and I'm affected by both. Moving down here, this is one of the best critical parts of the tree to me. You got +1 crit chance there. We've got lots of critical damage bonus and chance. And coming back up here, we've got 2 power charges. Very important because we've got critical damage bonus consuming recently. Coming to here, how did we get our... I'll move to come back here in a second. Of course, more critical chance here with Careful Assassin. And what we have here is Chaos Inoculation. Your life becomes 1. You're immune to chaos. You've got to have good energy shield. Otherwise, your energy shield is essentially your life, as you can see with this blue on the bottom left. I think it's been great. Initially, I did not want to spec into this because it's quite expensive. It's quite a... it was quite a lot of points to move in this direction. But it also has the nice crit nodes, and it worked out well, and it's got a jewel node next to it. So, yeah, jewel socket. So that's great. Saying that, I held back for a long time, but eventually got Eternal Youth. I didn't want to waste a point. I didn't think I needed it. I liked Energy Shield Recharge. I now have to think about my jewels and get ones without recharge. So I've taken Eternal Youth, which just means your life flasks can refill your health, well, which is now your energy shield. It's really important for those uh-oh moments, and you know, you're fighting a boss in a corridor. You got a tornado of rats ritual in a 1 meter corridor with one of the big bosses from Ritual inside there. I mean, your health's just going to go bang, 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 bang down from that tornado, and you're stuck there. So you need that get me out of jail life flask. I've got Spectral Ward. I really want to focus on Energy Shield, and this one's too good to take away. You get your evasion on your body armor and helps your energy shield. In terms of more crit, this is a really good part of the crit tree. Such good use of points. You get lots of chance. Too good to not take. And that's basically it. I mean, it's not a complicated tree. If you just have a look at a snapshot, it just sticks in this area here. Now, let me take you through what my gear looks like. I try to get as much energy shield as possible. This helmet was quite expensive. This was not. This is not the top roll, but now they're selling quite a lot. But this cost me, it was in the Exalts at the time. So this wasn't expensive for me. The helmet was probably the most. It was a couple divine. To be honest, nothing else was that much, really. Maybe 1 or 2 items here. And basically, because I'm Chaos Inoculation, I just focus on Lightning Fire. I rolled this ring myself. I picked it up from the ground, and it works well. It's got some good stats on there. So what I'm going for is high energy shield and evasion gear, particularly energy shield, okay? The chest piece is super important to get high rolls. You want to spend on the chest piece because you want to activate Lead Me Through Grace to have enough spirit to put all your buffs and your auras in. That's absolutely key. What else is key is your weapon. I have changed. This weapon is not super high DPS. There are people out there with the physical damage rating. See how it says 375? They've got 500, 600. That's insane. I mean, I don't have the money or the luck for that. I've been crafting. You can see here I've got every every quarterstaff you can get. See, it's got a nice 64 damage. That's not high enough, but you know, I would try to get some good rolls with a transmutation and augmentation, regal it. If it doesn't have good rolls by this point, this one does not have what I want. Get rid of it. Don't waste your exalts. But, you know, try to roll it. What I'm looking for now, being crit, is I'm looking for 3 real things. One is the overall damage. As you can see, 375. 2 is the critical hit chance. 14% is good. I'd love 15%. The difference of the percent on the staff is huge. My critical hit chance, and I'll show you in a minute, is probably 72 without buffs and 82 with buffs, 83. If I got 15% on the staff, 1 more percent, it's like 80 something without the buffs and 90 something with them. So it's on my bucket list is to get a really good staff. Bit more damage as well. I'd love to get a high damage one. But what's mandatory is critical damage bonus. Don't miss that on your staff. Apparently the way it scales in the game, it's in favor of that. So you can see plus 20%. Get higher if you can, but I got a 20. I got a reasonable staff that will make do until I can afford something proper, really, really good. Oh, the other thing is the amulet. For amulet, the energy shield. That's what this amulet is all about. 93 to the energy shield and 57 max. Let's look at my energy shield on the bottom left. 3747, 1000. You know, about 20% of my energy shield, maybe less or maybe more, is coming because of that amulet, right? It's obviously because of my gear, but the amulet and the skill tree is scaling that. So that's really good. Because my resistances are capped, I just put in a golden charm to increase rarity. Now let's go through, I'll talk about rarity. Let's just have a look at some of the stats on Ice Strike, and we'll talk about critical chance, and we'll talk about rarity and a few other things. For Ice Strike, you can see it says my main hand critical chance is 70. I'm not sure why it's actually 70. It was 72. Maybe I need to go into a map. I have a aura, one of my chat showed it to me, which is actually Charge Infusion. And Charge Infusion, it's a buff, sorry, not an aura. It actually consumes charges, which I'm generating all the time, to increase critical hit chance. And it does go up like 10-12%. Ice Strike, you can already, in the game, it's often jumping to like 82, 83. And the critical damage bonus in game, the bonus is often around 500. So it's critical hit is super important to the build I'm doing. And I want to get critical to 80, 90. I want to get bonus up. I think it's unbelievable. It bypasses resistances because of the ascendancy. My rarity is actually quite high. It's actually 114. Rarity's all the rage these days, but I don't know if you're aware, if you still think that you have to scale rarity to the moon, you don't. There is a video that came out, I forget the link, but it shows the results of thorough testing, showing that rarity tapers off at around 100%, including rarity on the map. So if you've got 80 rarity and your map rolls 20, that's enough. And I found as well, 100, you're dropping great stuff. You do not need to stack rarity to 300, 1000%. It actually doesn't add extra. So I'm not too fussed. I mean, I think I've got rarity in my gloves. Yeah, and I'm about to drop these gloves. The reason I'm doing this video is I'm about to get some, I got myself a nice unique, okay? I got Hands of Wisdom in Action, which I'm about to equip. I actually got a nice item in Ritual and I sold it for that. And so before I get that, I want to make a video that what you can do with no uniques, and it can be very, very powerful. And I'll lose the rarity and I'm not fussed at all. I'm not fussed. I'll have 90 something, which is more than enough. Now, in terms of gems, I've got Ice Strike, which is the main skill. This build does have mana challenges. I would try to get a 5th slot and get the jewel that reduces mana cost by 40%. Or what you do is you can take, I've taken these nodes already. There are also nodes here. Mental Toughness, and a really, really good one. Outstanding, 10% cost while giving you attack speed is Deep Trance. And you can see I'm not far. You just need more points. That's why I said getting to level 95 would be ideal for me. And it would be very hard, but you just got to keep at it. And basically what I have on Ice Strike without that 5th link is I have Martial Temper for attack speed, Concentrated Effect for damage. I don't care so much about AoE. For AoE, we've got Herald of Ice and Thunder exploding the screen. Primal Armament, more damage, and Ice Bite. Tempest Bell, I don't use multiple bells. I don't use overabundance to spawn another bell. If you have success with it, great. I find the amount of times that the timing works out, that you actually get 2 bells at once, is just not worth it for me. It hardly ever happens. So I've got Rage, I've got Heft for more damage. Again, Heavy Swing for more damage. and super critical. This is about, now that I've gone crit, 100% crit damage bonus, but less chance. I would not put this on my staff or on charge staff, sorry, on Ice Strike or any of those. But on Tempest Bell, apparently, you don't get that second negative effect. Now, I may be wrong, but it's working extremely well, so go with that. This was recommendation from my chat to throw in Charge Infusion as well, to throw in super critical there, and to put Ambush, which we'll talk about in a second. Now, if I had an outstanding weapon that was just take me to the moon with crit chance, I could free up this here. And by freeing this up, I could get rid of this ring, for example, and put on a crazy ring with all the stuff I need. Charge Staff, this is part of the classic build where you want to infuse your staff with power charges. So in order to do that, there's a few things required. One, you have Combat Frenzy, which gains charges, and you have Profusion, so you can grant another charge. Then you put in a charge staff to actually consume the charges into your staff. The problem is it says it consumes power charges, and Frenzy is frenzy charges. It's pretty simple. That's why we have Resonance to get power instead of Frenzy. So what you have is, you have Frenzy turned into power, charge staff consuming it, and you're getting all this additional lightning damage. We're adding in Persistence for more duration. We've added in Culling Strike. You don't have to. I just thought that was a nice one to add in. You're adding in Coursing Current so that you have... I like this one. You can shock enemies around it. This may not be optimal again. This is just me experimenting. And you have Ambush. Now, Ambush is what I talked about. It's got 100% more crit chance of enemies in full life. I really like that. There's some stuff in the tree around that, but this saves you having to spec into that. So that really works well. You've got more crit chance here, and you've got more damage here. Now, I may be wrong about this not negating the chance, and maybe these just work in synergy, but whatever it is they work well, I'd recommend trying it out. Ghost Dance is a defensive skill, and we've added in Fast Forward so that you recover energy shield faster from Ghost Dance. Wind Dancer is an evasion boosting buff. Always, guys, we're always qualitying our gems. If I hold Alt, you'll see down the bottom there, additional effects from quality. 1 maximum stage. That's extra evasion. A whole other stage. That's big. And so we want to do that to all the gems. For example, if you have a look, I've got that on, yeah, everything. Longer duration. Temper Spell goes for longer. Ice Strike's got 10% more attack speed, which is more damage. And yeah, just a small side note, make sure you do that. Wind Dancer, I just threw some things that are usable in there. I get more stun threshold. Your stun threshold's quite low on CI, and that's another topic, because CI, you don't have life, you have energy shield, and your stun and freeze thresholds in Path of Exile 2 are based on your life. Getting that on a jewel, getting that in the tree, there's places in the tree you can get that too, but this is, I would say this is actually necessary. And Energy Barrier, I will take that out because I had that in when I did not have Eternal Youth. So after Eternal Youth, I use Flasks. I don't use Recharge anymore. And Blind is to blind enemies and maim on hit. Now you might say, why have I got all this stuff for on hit? Because Wind Dance is just helping your evasion, right? Well, if you hold Alt down on your keyboard, Gale Force is a hit, right? And it knocks back enemies. So it still considers itself a hit, and you can still trigger these. Combat Frenzy, did I mention this already? I mentioned it, but the gem is just Profusion to get a charge. Now this is Herald of Ice, quite a common thing to do. Instead of using Pulsar Ring, which I did have in there, and replaced it with a normal, with a ring for a slot, and used that slot to add in Thunder. Herald of Ice and Thunder work together to explode the screen. It's pretty simple. It sounds counterintuitive. Herald of Ice is, if you kill an enemy that's frozen, it causes an explosion. And Thunder, if you kill an enemy that's shocked, it will cause a lightning attack. So what you do is you get Herald of Ice to do Thunder and Shock, Lightning and Shock, and you get Herald of Thunder to do Cold and Freeze. And so when Herald of Ice triggers, it causes Shock, which triggers Herald of Thunder, which causes Ice, which triggers Herald of Ice, and so on, and they'd explode the screen. So just putting things like Lightning Infusion and Conduction and Innovate, and I've just got Magnified Effect, which is lovely, a lovely one for Herald of Ice. Thunder's got the cold infusion, similar thing in the glaciation for the freeze, and then it's just got long shot. I mean, you could swap things around just to make it do more damage the further away you go and cause that whole of screen explosion. So that's the gems. It's really, really powerful. So my next step, just so everyone knows, in my next videos later on, I've just, as I said, treated myself to this lovely pair of Hand of Wisdom and Action wraps with 2 slots. I'm really excited, and in the next videos you'll see me with a much more advanced build, and I'm trying to use this to farm for a really good weapon, some better jewels, and maybe one day we'll get some high-end uniques as well, even higher end than this. So thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments if you want me to make this into a guide. This is not intended to be a full-on build guide. I'm the least qualified person in the world to create a build guide. And I'm just having fun experimenting and sharing my thoughts with you. So I don't want anyone thinking that I'm saying this is the best build. Not at all. We don't even have POB. We don't know what's optimal. There are other streamers who are going to do it better. But I'm trying to talk to you in plain English about my experience, what's working, and you can use it to improve your build or not, or just have some more fun. See you later, Exile.